He scammed over $24 million with a cow scam? And she was forced into scamming her followers on Instagram. Let's get right into some of the weirdest scams. Number 5. Cow scam. Around $24 million was the amount that Robert Blom from South Dakota stole from clients and investors in a cattle business that went sour when he was busted. Blom pleaded guilty to wire fraud and money laundering by scamming investors and making them believe his business was more successful than it really was. The man, who grew up in Holland, South Dakota, and had dedicated 15 years to his animal feeding business, would lure local farmers he already knew into buying cattle from him with the promise that he would feed them and sell them for profit. Blom altered financial documents and sold the same group of cattle to various buyers. Court documents state that over 50 individuals, including businesses, were scammed and millions of dollars were taken from them. One of them, the First Dakota National Bank, said Blom overdrew his account over $1 million and owed them more than $6 million in total, for which he was making an interest rate of $1,000 per day. Blom's victims included close friends like Jeff Hampton and co-workers like Robert Meyer, who spent 14 years doing business with Blom. Both of them talked in court and stated their financial losses. One of them asked the judge to impose the heaviest sentence the law required. It has been said by various South Dakota lawyers that this is one of the largest financial scams ever seen in the state. One of his biggest investors, Kurt Plamp, lost about $1 million. He was Blom's brother-in-law for 28 years and trusted his business abilities. Plamp would see small returns on his original $750,000 investment, only about $20,000 to $30,000. It was when Plamp's bank gave him a call that he became suspicious. The operation spanned a period of years from 2014 to 2019. During this time, Blom fraudulently told his investors he would use their money to buy new cattle to feed and sell, promising to pay them back with profits. Instead, he used their money to pay back old investors without actually selling the cattle. Blom purchased various groups of cattle from livestock companies that he later offered to multiple investors, claiming he would take care of both their investment and the cattle to be fed. According to court documents, Blom was aware he didn't have the amount of cattle he was claiming to sell, so he forged invoices to hide the fact he sold the same group of animals to multiple people. After the invoices were sent, Blom received checks from his investors for the requested amounts. Because he sold the same cattle to a lot of people, he wasn't able to pay back all of his investors, since he wasn't making any profit from the actual cattle sale to processing plants. In 2021, Blom pleaded guilty to 1 count of wire fraud and 1 count of money laundering out of the combined 32 charges he faced. He faced up to 40 years in prison. Blom was also presented with a $750,000 restitution fine ordered for the case. Overall, his scheme totaled about $24 million in losses and almost 30,000 animals that went missing. His financial woes date back to 2019 when he was charged for writing a bad check to another cattle buyer. For this, he was sentenced to 5 years in prison and 8 years of probation. Number 4. Fat James Bond. A man from Seaham, England, decided to fully live out his Secret Service spy fantasy by convincing his partner he was indeed a member of Britain's MI5. John Hare, a 53-year-old farmer, had told his girlfriend of 5 years he was working for MI5, and that was the reason he needed to carry a gun with him at all times. According to his partner, he would even carry his .22 with him while dining out. The scam, which lasted around 25 years, made all his closest relatives and partners believe he was actively working for the MI5. He eventually told his lovers he had started as a personal protection agent before he was tapped by the Secret Service. His fake spy lifestyle somehow allowed him to own several properties, including a private bungalow and the house farm he shared with his wife and kids. Turns out, Hare was actually married, and his spy scam seemed to help him get some extra time for female partners. In fact, some of them were so convinced they were still in an official relationship that even when he was caught by the authorities, they thought they were exclusive. His spy facade served as the perfect excuse for him to deceive his multiple lovers. He even went on to give one of them the number of his MI5 unit so she could contact him in case of an emergency. Some of the women actually lived close by to his main house, one of them 10 minutes away and the other 15 minutes in the opposite direction. Hare was so good at convincing these women that he was able to make one of them leave her husband of 46 years. Overall, he was romantically linked to 5 different women. In reality, John Hare was a common farmer who ran a green waste recycling company. When authorities first heard of Hare's case, it was through one of his girlfriends who claimed he had physically assaulted her after an altercation in his house. After further investigation and hearing the women's claims, they started looking for his .22 he supposedly had in his home. Hare had confessed he had the firearm, so police went to his farmhouse to search for it. They were directed to the chicken coop where 30 chickens lived by his wife. At one point, it was his wife who dug up the ground to uncover the hidden gun inside a bread bag. Hare said he had bought it around 2005 to shoot rats. Hare was sentenced to 5.5 years in prison. Number 3. Lunch Sisters. 2 women who worked at a Connecticut school cafeteria were busted when it was discovered they were actually stealing money from the cash register at work. The money, which was stolen over the course of 5 years, amounted to almost $500,000. Joanne Pascarelli and Mary Wilson, sisters, had been working at the new Canaan High School cafeteria for a couple of years before police and the local Board of Education noticed the missing money was a staggering amount. They were both no strangers to drama. During their years of work, they had fostered a reputation as very difficult co-workers. All of this was permitted by their boss, Bruce Gluck, head chef of the high school cafeteria. The new Canaan High School cafeteria was like no other. Farm-to-table products, gluten-free options, and low-calorie foods were all part of the very popular menu Gluck had created. After all, this was a small but very rich Connecticut town that had the budget to do so. While under Gluck's supervision, both sisters were considered Gluck's right hands and ran the high school's kitchen with a very tight grip. On occasions, there were even reports of food thrown and yelling in the workplace. New Canaan High School was taking in a lot of money through their cafeteria, around $2 million a year, with 5% being in cash. And while many schools would outsource the accounting of the service, New Canaan decided to do it themselves. Once Wilson was named into a supervising position, she had access to the many resources the cafeteria had. Wilson took over the duty of personally counting money after every shift, and at the end of the day, she wouldn't let cashiers do it. As the money was coming in every day in cash, both Wilson and Pascarelli took the larger bills and started taking a couple $100s a day with them. They had no supervision. After a few years, Pascarelli started working at a different school nearby, and thus their scam grew exponentially. She told one worker that she couldn't register the amount of cash made on the day and forced her to sign a deposit slip lower than the amount of money that went in. And while the school district implemented a new software to count the money and keep a digital registry, Pascarelli continued to count it herself and sign deposit slips because, according to her, the new system took too long. Their co-workers took notice of these strange proceedings and started going one by one to the police. Both Wilson and Pascarelli were accused by their co-workers of the shady financial schemes they were running at the 2 different schools. The school district started counting the money that had gone missing. It was discovered that both sisters had stolen from the schools a whopping $478,588. This was only in a period of 5 years because, according to the statute of limitations, they weren't allowed to investigate prior years. It's believed their scam dated back to 15 years. Both sisters went to the police to speak, but there were others to blame. Wilson said she was forced by Gluck to hand him $100 a day. She felt concerned and her job was on the line. Pascarelli was firm on her belief that no money had gone missing. She said that it was likely that the new food services director had a thing against her, or maybe the kids at school used each other's card pins. Both sisters were charged with larceny in 2018 and pleaded not guilty. They posted bail for $50,000 each before their trials. They were offered settlements. Gluck was also called to court because bank statements showed he had made large deposits of money during the time frame of the crime. Number 2. Cheating husband. As the co-owner of her late husband's trucking company, Frances Hall was accused of altering payroll documents and thus lowering the company's premium insurance payments to the state of Texas. According to officials, the company avoided around $9 million between 2009 and 2016. While these fraudulent schemes aren't uncommon in the business world, what makes this case strange was the situation that took place before her scamming. Hall had been convicted for murdering her husband, Bill Hall Jr., back in 2013. She had discovered him and his mistress driving driving down the highway in his Range Rover and motorcycle and hit them with her Cadillac Escalade. After this, they got into a chase which ended with her running her car against her husband and his motorcycle. He was rushed to the hospital where he died. Francis was convicted in 2016 and was released in 2018. Hall was charged with aggravated assault and sentenced to 2 years in prison and was given a lower sentence because the judge considered she acted out of sudden passion. Hall believed firmly she didn't purposely go after her husband, but she deeply regretted having chased them down that day. She also stated that the woman his husband had an affair with had sent her multiple texts and videos. Aside from all this, Hall was able to keep her full husband's business, even when her son Justin took her to court to battle the company's control. He was intending to hand control over his father's half of the company to him and his sister Dominique, alleging she shouldn't be able to receive financial report from her crime. Hall's son was trying to take back 50% of the company since his father didn't leave any type of will and everything went directly to his mom. Unfortunately, the judge ruled in favor of Francis and she kept 100% control over the trucking company and other assets. The fraud charges that have been presented against her stem from illegal altering of payroll information that the company provided to Texas Mutual Insurance Company, while also hiding other payroll details that made the company insurance premium payments much lower than they should have legally been. She has been pointed as a direct culprit since the fraud scheme happened when she was co-owner of the company between 2009 and 2016. After an arrest warrant was issued, Hall faced charges for securing execution of a document over $200,000. After turning herself in, she was released on a $20,000 bail. Her lawyers state that Hall denies all allegations and is expected to defend herself in court. Number 1. Reverse influenced. Emma Tomlinson is an aspiring singer from Australia. She says that she had a breakdown when hackers stole her Instagram account. To make matters worse, they demanded her to record videos promoting a Bitcoin scam so they could scam more people. Tomlinson, who had managed to get a few thousand followers on Instagram, had turned to social media as a vehicle to promote her work and create an audience. She became known nationally when she competed in Australia's version of X Factor in 2014 and has been popular for her blend of pop, R&B, and classical crossover. Tomlinson said she received a private message from a friend asking for her account details. Thinking it was a person she trusted, she handed over her email information, the same that links to her Instagram account. A few minutes later, she was locked out of her profile. Somehow, hackers had gotten a hold of a friend's account and posed as her. Added to this, the hackers asked for a $200 payment and requested she had to do a video promoting an illegal cryptocurrency scam. Tomlinson said she felt forced to do it so she could get her account back. She went on to shoot the video, stating the company was trusted and totally legit. After doing the video and paying the $200, the hackers told her that she had to pay an extra $3,000 or they would leak nude pictures of her, which were fake. Tomlinson was desperate, so she paid the amount. In the video, Tomlinson spoke about how she was able to see profits on her cryptocurrency investment only after 3 hours. She went on to say the deal was very real and the company very worthwhile. The video went online later. Tomlinson said she had a breakdown because of the implications of losing the platform she uses to promote her music and how devastating it was to lose control over her public image. Click to watch one of these next videos. Let us know in the comments section what you would have done if you were in Emma's situation. Run the scam or just create a new account.